So there's a personality trait of certain kind of people who are actually risk takers, who take risk. And people who take risk are bound to fail. It's a very logical thing that if you take risk, not every time, not 100% success will be there. So you are bound to fail. And while you fail, the world sees that as a wrong decision. So for you, it was a decision, you took a calculated risk, you failed, you learnt a lot as an individual, and then you work on it. But for an outsider, for the world, who are generally um, very restrictive in their thought, very normative in their behavior, and very hesitant. Most of the people on life are hesitant to venture out from the normal pre-decided paths. So for them, they see this as a wrong decision. And not only that, um, the world loves to ridicule. The world loves to mock people who go outside the a prescriptive path, and then they fail. So the world is just waiting. Most of the people are just waiting for the person to just fall and end up as a failure, so that they can pin nail that person saying बताया था बोला था कहा था and he thinks too smart and all those stuff. So ये how the world looks at your learning slash failure is more like a bad decision. But people of this risk taking category don't change, they can't change. And this wrong decision or failure is not only about some professional aspect of their life, that remains in even in their personal life. So even in their social life, in their interactions with people, even in the way they think on small and big things. So that risk taking can be it can be as small as putting multiple things on the stove and trying to juggle and ensuring that the milk does not spill. And at times it will spill because your attention is at three places. But that's the fun of risk taking. So for many people, this risk taking leading to a little failure, and then you again go back to your drawing board, planning, strategizing, and then again reassessing, or say reanalyzing where you made those small mistakes. And then going back to the board can be not necessarily in a physical sense. It can be a fraction of a second. It's just your mind just calculates where those mistakes happened, and then your brain factors that in the brain, put that as a new code in your mind that okay, this is where I faltered and now I won't. So these recalculations or kind of catharsis which you go through becomes very puzzling for again the same common prescriptive wala world. They just don't understand what's going in the mind of that person. And these risk taking people are generally very self centric, very um, um, self engaged most of the time, because the everything they want in life is challenging. Life what they say, na, normal is boring. So they don't want boring things. So they want challenge in everything they do. So it's just about perspective. It's just about being on the other side of the being at, matlab, at two sides and having a different view of the whole thing. So that's why it's very puzzling that people actually don't understand how a risk taker thinks, how an entrepreneur thinks. If you are a risk taker, if you are an entrepreneur, you just exactly know that how a person reacts, how a person behaves at failures and at achievements. And if you're not a risk taker and if you're not an entrepreneur, you just don't have that mind frame to understand and appreciate and go into the depth of what risk taking actually means. So, risk taking is a virtue, and those who have um, are at times troubled and also create trouble for others who are around them. So it's fun for them, but at times it becomes a little difficult for people around them, and um, people who tried or say who are tracking their progress just to make out what exactly is happening in the mind of that risk taker. So